Her name was Shally. The name of her eldest son was Tom. His features are said to bear a striking resemblance, although sable resemblance, to those of the President himself. Hello there. I'm James Collender, and this is Professor Mark's weekly newsletter.
All right, Mr. Callender, thank you. Thanks for joining us this week. Certainly are an interesting guy that a lot of people don't know about, who had a pretty profound effect on the country and its history. But we appreciate you being here today. So one of the things we do here, Mr. Callender, is we talk about the financial markets, but we talk about certain market principles, right? And one of the principles is that there's some price levels that are more important than others. Sometimes we know why, sometimes we don't. That's not as important though as just knowing that they're there. Like for instance, say something gets to $100, right? There's probably going to be support or resistance because people like to trade at nice round levels. Sometimes former support and former resistance levels can become important again. So we're going to look through the sectors here and see what we can find. Levels that were resistance can become support. This is because of buyer's remorse. No, this is because of seller's remorse. Levels that were support can become resistance because of buyer's remorse. So we'll see how that works. All right, so this here is just an overview, so we'll just keep going along here. Now here we have our S&P 500 ETF, and as we could see, we stalled out right at this 390 level on Friday. This level is important going back to here. We can see support becomes resistance, becomes support, becomes resistance, becomes support, and now once again has become resistance. So support becomes resistance because people buy down here, and when the market goes higher and then goes lower, a lot of the people who bought the shares here decide they made a mistake and they vow to get out. But they don't want to lose money, so they say they'll sell them at the same price they bought them at. So they place their sell orders at the buying price. So if you have enough of these remorseful buyers placing sell orders, the level that was support turns into resistance. Here we have the opposite. Resistance becomes support. So people sell and the price goes higher. A lot of these people say to themselves, I made a mistake. I want to buy my shares back, but I'm only going to do it if I get them for the same price I sold them at. So this is remorseful sellers placing buy orders. And if there are enough of them, the level becomes support. Here we see it became resistance again. Over here, support again. Now it's resistance again. So knowing which levels are important is like having a roadmap of the market. A lot of times it tells you which way it's going to go. Here we have our technology sector ETF. Short term on the upside here, I'd be looking for resistance around 126. On the bottom side, or the downside, I'd be looking around 121 for support. Notice how resistance became support. And here we have market memory. Support, we find support at a former support level. All right, so Mr. Callender wants to come on in, tell us a little bit more about what he did. All right, come on back here.
I was known as a political pamphleteer and newspaper writer. By the age of 30, I had developed a talent for political protest and the writings of incendiary articles and pamphlets against the British Crown. I had to flee my motherland of Scotland in 1793 or face trial for sedition. I sought asylum in America, where there were no barriers to my expression of opinion. I chose to settle in Philadelphia, the seat of the newly developed American government. I supported myself as a journalist and political propagandist. I did not like Treasury Secretary Alexander Hamilton's pro-British foreign policy views, and I set out to destroy him. I published evidence that Hamilton was having an adulterous affair with a woman named Maria Reynolds. He acknowledged the affair, his reputation was tarnished, and he never again held office.
Well, that's pretty cool. Appreciate that. All right, let's just move right along here. Now we are in our healthcare sector, and we can see here that resistance becomes support. We've been trading above this level for the last, 2 or 3 weeks. So remember, remorseful sellers placing buy orders. When the price goes higher, they decided they made a mistake. They go to buy their shares back. Down on the bottom here, we have a level that was support becoming support again. This is market memory. The best traders aren't too complicated, at least the best human traders. They just focus on these principles: levels, trends, momentum, and investment psychology. You can learn more about that over in the lessons section. Here we have the financial sector ETF. And we look at these sectors because if you look at the underlying sectors, it gives you a broader idea of what's going on in the market, in the broad market. And it'll help us decide or help us determine which way the market's going to move. So resistance here became support. Now, if we go higher, I think around here, this former resistance level, probably about 3650, is where we have resistance, and see if this 3450 level turns into support. Next, we have our consumer discretionary fund, and these are ETFs which track these sectors. I would be willing to think that there's probably going to be some resistance around 135 because there was support back here and support here and resistance here. All right, come on back on in, JC. Let us know what else you did in your life.
By 1798, my wife had died of yellow fever. I abandoned my children and I fled Philadelphia for Richmond, Virginia. Thomas Jefferson was president, and I expected to be appointed as the postmaster of Richmond. I had supported Jefferson when his candidacy. In turn, he had provided financial support for my slanderous pamphlets. When Jefferson refused to make the appointment, I set out to destroy him as well.
All right, well, I don't know what to think about that, but whatever. Here we have industrials, okay, and we can see now we have a psychological level, $100. There's no logical, mathematical reason why this thing should become $100. It's a huge industry, but people like to buy and sell at nice round levels, so there you go. So now we're going to be looking to see if the market reverses, does 100 become support, and if we keep moving forward, is there resistance around 103? All right. Oops, sorry about that. All right, let's keep moving along here. All right, here we have our communication services sector, ETF, XLC, and we had resistance at 52, okay? And now we have, if we keep moving forward, I'd be looking for resistance around 52 again. This is our market memory. A level that was previously resistance can become resistance again, or a level that was previously support can become support again. Market memory is kind of a funny thing. Sometimes these levels can retain their importance for a long time. Now we have our consumer staples fund, and we'll notice here, once again, we see that certain levels are more important than others. I don't have this one drawn out heavily, but you can see here support at a former resistance level, resistance at a former resistance level. So support becomes resistance. So why is this important? Well, if you know where the market important levels are, you know where the market might turn. All right, we're going to bring out Mr. Calendar again here. He's got a couple other things to say.
I published letters from Jefferson proving that Jefferson had financed my pamphleteering. When Jefferson supporters counterattacked, I broke the story that Jefferson had fathered children by his slave Sally Hemings. And when that scandal broke down, I published stories of Jefferson's attempt to seduce a married neighbor decades earlier, to which Jefferson freely admitted.
I don't know, dude. I don't know, man. You got to be loyal to people, I guess. All right, anyone got to get nasty with me, man. Anyway, this is our energy sector. We can see resistance became support. Support becomes resistance. Again, seller's remorse. People sell, it goes higher. A lot of them vow to buy their shares back, but only if they can get them for the same price they sold them at. Support becomes resistance. People, that's buyer's remorse. People buy, they regret doing so when the price goes lower, and a lot of them try to sell at 88. And if there's enough of these remorseful buyers placing sell orders, the level that was support turns into resistance. There's enough of these remorseful sellers placing buy orders, the level that was resistance becomes support. The utility sector, trading above this important 69 level, was support, became resistance, support. All right, we're just going to have Mr. Callender come out here and finish things up.
Although I was extremely popular with newspaper readers, many of my allies turned against me. My hatred for Jefferson and my drinking became so obsessive that on July night of 1803, in a drunken stupor, I drowned in 3 foot of water in the James River. Some say that damn Jefferson had me whacked.
Whoa, dude. Wow. So you're saying TJ had you whacked? Huh. Well, considering that you're dead, you probably know the answer by now, if there is an afterlife. And I kind of think there is because I had a ghost in my house, but that's another story for another time, my friends. So here we have the whole shebang. Resistance becomes support, support becomes resistance, resistance becomes support, and we're testing resistance again now. So for some reason, this sector ETF likes this 81 level. Just the opposite of, I guess, Jefferson's feelings about you, dude. Alrighty, just moving along. This is our real estate sector, which is basically REITs. And not surprisingly, we have some levels that are more important than others. And if you, it's not on the chart here, but if you look at this bottom here, if you go back about 3 years, I believe, you'll see support formed at the same level. So that's an example of a market memory. Its level can retain its importance for years. All right. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And thank you, Mr. Calendar. We'll let you go back to wherever it is that you are. I don't know if you're going up or going down, but thanks again for being with us. And I will talk with you soon. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.